This episode is brought to you by DNA Sports Training. If you or someone you know wants to take their game to the next level, then hit up DNA Sports Training. Visit DNASportsDenver.com to book a training session. We offer specialized sports training from football to track and field and everything else in between. Whether you're an offensive or defensive lineman wanting to get off the ball quicker, or you're an athlete wanting to improve your overall speed and agility, we have something for you over at DNA. Visit DNASportsDenver.com right now and sign up. It's DNASportsDenver.com. Yo.
Yo. What's up, man? How you doing, Coach?
What up, brother?
Feeling good?
Feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Weather's changing.
Weather is changing.
Winter is coming.
Hey, it was a little cold at that game last night, man. I was thinking, how the hell was I standing on the sideline with shorts last year during some of this shit? And
because we were coaching, so like it seems warmer. I don't know. It sounds weird, but it seems warmer when you're on the field coaching, moving around. Like
it's true. Because you're not staying. I don't stay still. I pace the sideline, and I know you kind of you got your style, and you get amped, you get hype, and provide that energy. So I could definitely feel that. It was funny because after that game last night, we're kind of standing there, and I think it was Scotty or somebody. Like, you're like, dang, it's cold. No, Scotty, I'm hot, coach. And
yeah, it was
like, dude, you just got done playing, asshole.
Yeah,
of course you're hot.
I was freezing.
Oh man, it was a great game. Great game.
Fun.
Shout out to North. Got to go check them out last night. Some of our seniors that we coached, that we obviously didn't coach this year, but that we came up with for the last 3 years prior, and to see them boys go out with a dub. It was great. It's always good to send your seniors off with a dub, man.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see those underclassmen really perform, the way they performed for their older brothers, you know what I'm saying? And that's what you want to see from your high school program is building that relationship and sending off the seniors in the right way, like you said. So
that's always my point during senior week, man, is like, hey, let's come out here, do our best, and let's send our seniors out with a dub. Like, that's a lot of times the seniors don't control that, because there's only a handful of seniors and there's everyone else. So it was nice to be able to see them boys get sent off the proper way. Shout out to Scotty Drillyard on the beautiful pick to seal the game. The game was getting
He had 2 picks in the game. He was all over the place.
That last
tackles,
one,
but that last one, he kind of dropped into his zone, read the quarterback perfectly, and just flowed to the ball, man. It was nice. It was textbook. So
well, and that game was getting down there. Niwot was getting down to the red zone, and he had an opportunity on the play before, and just missed it. Couldn't come down with it.
Yeah.
And you always wonder, like, shoot, is that missed interception? You always see it like where someone drops an interception, the next play it's a touchdown, or the next play it's a first down, or for whatever reason the drive continues, right? And so it was just kind of wondering, like, to myself, like, shit, is this going to bite them? Is this going to bite them in the ass? And then very next play, Scotty gets up there, it almost looked like the same play, gets up there, makes the pick, and seals the game, dude.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and shout out to him. And I feel bad because, any player that I coach, I push and I push and I push. Even when they do great, right, we push them to do better. And so he comes up and we're talking about the picks, and I congratulate him real quickly, and then I say, yeah, but you should have scored on the first one. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, coach, I know, I got you. So, he likes it. It's that competitive edge. It's always striving, chasing perfection, falling to greatness, you know what I mean? So shout out to him and the rest of the team. But yeah, it was a cold one, man. And you know what we should have had that we didn't have is a nice DNA beanie, because it is beanie season. So go out and get your beanies if you're enjoying football these getting into the cold months and to the playoff months, and whether you're in youth, high school, or you're on a college sideline, and you're a fan, stay warm with the DNA beanie.
Yep, DNASportsDenver.com. Make sure you check out the merch. Check out the podcast. If you haven't caught up with us, make sure you catch up with us and go peep out what we have. 16 episodes on there so far. A lot of movement, man. love seeing the movement. Love seeing you guys participate. Make sure you hit up DNASportsDenver.com/AskDNA if you want to jump on the program or, want to get your voice heard or get your question out there. We're definitely always taking them and always looking to answer them.
Yeah, and continue to show the love and spread the love, man, because what we want to do with this platform is we want to elevate it so that way we can elevate others. It's not about DNA itself. It's about the community, the kids in the community that are doing these great things at these football games. We want to, bring awareness to certain situations, but we also want to raise your knowledge of these local athletes and kind of build them a little bit of notoriety before they proceed in there.
And I think that's the great thing about taking advantage of technology, right? Like we all have certain technologies available to us now that we don't have to just be local. We don't just have to be,
for sure,
in this area or this certain, proximity. We can get out there and bring some spotlight to people or to businesses or to the company, outside of just the metro area, outside of just Colorado, or outside of just the United States even, looking at where we get listens from and views from. It's kind of cool knowing that we can put, a light onto certain topics or certain situations. So I appreciate it every day we get a chance to do this, man. Every opportunity we get a chance to link up on the microphones and chat it up, man. This is what we love doing. We missed last week. We had Halloween last week and moving, and I was moving and whatnot. So it was a little time for a break. But like I said, any opportunity we get the chance to come together and do this thing, man, it's definitely something I love doing and I appreciate doing and appreciate my partner in crime over here.
For sure. Likewise.
Man, so a lot of stuff been going on, as I said. World Series is in full swing. Astros and Phillies. Astros up 3-2 now, off of a couple of strong outings. Looked like the Phillies were finna run away with it, man. They took a commanding 2-1 lead off of 5 home runs and shut out the Astros, and everyone was like, oh, God, here comes the Phillies. And then the very next game, Astros no-hit the Phillies and then come back with a 3-2 win in Game 5 to take a 3-2 lead right now. So going back to Houston, we finished up our Wheat Ridge Vikings second grade
man.
Season.
Before I get into that a little bit, just to speak about the World Series a little bit, that's the great thing about sports, right, is you think one thing and then the other happens. And in these series, like, you never know what can happen. So right now I'm sure all the Houston fans are anticipating that they're going to go back home and they're going to seal the deal.
Finish
what I mean? And who knows? Don't sleep on the Phillies. The Phillies might go in and spoil that idea, from the very jump. And we could be tied 3-3 after this, looking to,
dude, I hope so.
Who's going to finish it out at the end. And either way, I love seeing sports at its pinnacle, what I mean? And that's exactly what they're doing right now, and that's what it should be in the World Series or in the Super Bowl or in the NBA Finals. Like, it should be the best of the best, and that's what we're getting right now. So
there's this saying in baseball that says your momentum is only as good as your next starting pitcher. And it truly was. When it comes to the momentum that the Phillies had going up 2-1 off of 5 home runs. I think it was a World Series record, 5 home runs in a game. And the very next game, starting pitcher for Houston was on, the bullpen was on, and they actually no-hit. They did a combined no-hitter against the Phillies, and then Verlander on Game 5 got his first win in the World Series in 8 tries. So that saying really holds weight in this situation where you're only as good. Your momentum's only as good as the next starting pitcher. So let's see what happens. I hope it goes 7, because if it goes 7, I mean, who doesn't want a Game 7? Yeah,
for sure. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, but we finished up Wheat Ridge season, man. I'm super proud of these kids, bro. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Kids are resilient. Kids will surprise you. They'll surprise themselves, and there's nothing better than seeing a kid's happiness on his face when he surprises himself with what he can do.
Absolutely.
When you show a kid his true ability and he brings it out and he realizes he's capable of doing that, that's the real fun part about coaching. You know what I mean? Because then once you reach that point, now you're chasing it. Now you're in the hunt. Now you're trying to continuously get better and see what else you can do that you didn't think you could do before. So, it was a phenomenal season. We had great parents, great supporting staff with our team moms, all the coaches. You guys are just amazing. It made it very easy for me as a head coach to, kind of facilitate what we had to go on. And I couldn't be any happier, man, with the results. I know we didn't finish out the tournament like we wanted to, but we lost to a great Arvada team.
Yep.
Shouts out to Coach Molina and his team. They're a very good football team. They fly around the ball. They rally to a tackle, and we lost 2 tough games to them. Yep. It's not like they blew us out. You know what I mean? They were the better teams both games that we played them in the regular season and in the postseason, and they deserve to be better than us on those days. So good for them, but I'm still proud of my boys and the way we finished, and I'm excited for the future.
You said it, bro. Like, it's awesome to be able to expose to a young athlete, like, yo, this is what you're capable of. It's that look of discovery when they figure it out, and that's why we do this here for. And it's only second grade, but the confidence you can build going forward it's tremendous, bro. And so super excited for them, super excited for their football careers going forward. It definitely was a joy coaching them this year. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the support we got from the parents and the team moms, and it always makes a coach's job easier when they get that proper support behind them. They get that team mom support that comes through, and you don't have to worry about a lot of the other, stuff that goes on. You don't have to necessarily do all the wrangling of the kids and rounding them up. Them team moms do a great job of doing that stuff and making sure we're on point with what we need. So it definitely is something that we appreciate as coaches and appreciate as parents as well. I know I didn't have a kid on this team, but a lot of these kids are my kids anyway. So
yeah, for sure. And you truly do take that approach as a coach. Once you build these relationships with kids, and it becomes somewhat of a parent role, you know what I mean? And you can't ever change that, like, forever embedded in your heart, whether they're second graders or high schoolers. You forever will be invested in their success.
In a way, I think that's the way you have to approach it too. Like, I think in a way you have to look at it as being a father figure. You're not trying to be their dad, so to speak, but I think if you approach it with that same kind of care that you approach being a father, you definitely will not lead these kids astray, and you'll actually provide some really good guidance for them. And I think that's the way we have to approach it, bro, because if we approach it any other way, I don't think we're doing a service to these kids or to these parents that trust us with their kids. So shout out Wheat Ridge. It was a great season. I know there was some controversy within the league with our Wheat Ridge Vikings, but just to be able to have these kids get out there, play football, grow in the game that they love. It's tremendous, man. I think athletics are so important to kids in terms of providing structure, discipline, and understanding of how to work together. So just being able to get out there and do that. I know we want to go try to check out some games today. I got a little cousin playing for Broomfield that I'm going to go try to check out. I know Rondé and Q and them are over at Broomfield this morning playing.
Yeah, they played the 7th grade Wheat Ridge Vikings. And, Q, you're my boy. Rondé, you know what's up. I love y'all. But, hey, that 7th grade Wheat Ridge Vikings team, man, they're hungry. They're coming for it. You guys, it's going to be a good game, I'm sure. But you're just in the way of their goal, and I think they're gonna come out there and be hungry for it, as well as I think you guys will be too. So it should be a good game. But I gotta be on that Viking sideline when they all said and done. Good luck to you.
I think it came down yesterday, and it reinforced it that there's that purple and gold still just trickling and running through these veins. So I know, I graduated from North, man, so it's a little bit different. But I think you've been there long enough and have enough ties to the school now too.
Yeah, man. It's like, so the type of person I am, right? And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It's just like, like when you invest in something that's not only the school, right, but the youth organization around the school, and you try to build all these relationships to see the school be successful in a certain aspect, in which is football, and when you start to see it kind of dwindle away, and you've had a part in it dwindling away yourself, so to speak, you start to feel a little bit guilty and a little bit of regret, a little bit, and I just want to make sure that wherever I am, wherever I'm coaching, I'm giving the opportunity to kids to play football. You know what I mean? And I got to make sure that when one door opens, another one closes, I still have to make sure that door that's closing has the ability to play football, you know what I mean, and the community around it. So I'm invested, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Shout out.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say shout out, shout out obviously the Vikings, Weaver's Vikings, shout out North. And I was going to move it along a little bit because, we also got the NBA going full go. Nuggets are looking all right. Jokic just broke Wilt Chamberlain's triple-double record, though. So most triple-doubles by a center. He's got 70, I think it's 78 or 79 now. So
yeah, I mean, it's early. The NBA season's long. You know what I mean?
It's a long haul for sure.
But you see where we're sitting right now. We're sitting at 6th in the Western Conference, and we're not far behind first. The Trailblazers are 6-2. We're a game back at 5-3. So
I think the surprises, bro, are like Golden State, Minnesota, Los Angeles. Minnesota made some moves this year, and I have a feeling when they figure it out, they're going to be pretty good. But they made some moves this offseason that basically said, hey, we're going all in. We're going to do this. Yeah. And they're sitting on the outside looking in. Golden State sitting on the outside looking in. The Lakers are sitting. Unfortunately, we gave the Lakers their first win, but they're sitting on the outside looking in. So you got to wonder if some of these teams like the Pelicans, are they the Spurs, are they going to stay up there in playoff contention, or are they going to slide back and kind of fall back to where people expected them? But I think that's the great thing about sports is the unknown. Sometimes you get teams that creep up from nowhere, and all of a sudden, like they're a contender. Look at the Phoenix Suns from a couple years ago.
Yeah, and then you see the teams that you expect to be good being good as well. Like in the Eastern Conference with the Bucks. The Bucks. Everybody knows that. They're a great team. They're built to win. They have some powerhouse players, and
bro, the more I learn about Giannis and his story,
bro,
dude, that dude's a dude, bro. That's like one of my favorite basketball players right now. Just
me too.
Based off of his story, dude, where he comes from. He comes from humble beginnings, and wasn't a lot expected out of him when he got drafted by Milwaukee. And here he is, probably the best player in the league, arguably. And he has been for a few years now. So definitely love seeing stories like that. Or Avalanche, they're kind of playing it slow back. They're out in Finland right now, playing in a 2-game series. They won the first one, and they play again today. It's kind of cool because Mikko Rantanen, he's from Finland, and he got himself a hat trick. So
that's dope. I love when the hometown kid comes back home and does dirt. You know what I mean? That's always cool.
So the Avalanche have 2 main guys they're from Finland, but they also have a goalie that's in their system that plays for their minor league hockey team, and he's from Finland as well, but he hasn't been playing up with the team this year. He's on the Stanley Cup team because he was a backup when Kemper got hurt last year. But the crazy thing is, bro, is that the Avalanche said, you know what, you're from Finland, we're going to bring you with us out there. And they brought him with them. So it's kind of cool, little love from the team and what they did there.
That's cool, man. It was like watching Jalen Hurts play the Texans the other night. You know what I mean? He went back home and he did his thing, man. Philly's rocking.
That looked like it was going to get a little closer than it should have been, and then they pulled away at the end.
Yeah.
You watching any college football today?
I will be probably a little bit, but, it's DJ's birthday weekend, so, whatever he wants to do.
Shout out DJ.
Whatever he wants to do, we're going to do.
What you think of Tennessee or Georgia? It's in Georgia.
I'll probably rock with Georgia.
I'm going Tennessee, bro. I'm going to Vols, man. They look good. That Hooker kid, he's dope.
Yeah, I gotta go with the home team on that one, though, man. I'm an Ohio State fan, but Georgia,
Buckeyes look good too, though.
Yeah, but Georgia, they have a program, bro. They've had a program for years, and it's hard to kind of dethrone dedication to and a commitment to excellence, and they've kind of shown that for the past several years. You know what I mean? Like,
they kind of remind me of Clemson a little bit from a few years ago, because Clemson was on that cusp, and then finally they broke through and were there for a little while. And so it kind of seems like Georgia's going to be the same thing. They were on the cusp for a number of years, just missing out, and it looks like now they've actually figured it out and they've got everything in place to kind of keep taking them steps, and they've built a great program. Look at all the guys they sent to the league last year, guys that are in the league right now making impacts. It's pretty wild. Speaking of the league, though, we had a trade deadline just pass, and it reminded me of like a baseball or NBA trade deadline, bro. Like, teams were making moves. You know, you had
and some teams didn't, surprisingly, as well.
Yeah. The Texans were expected to be big sellers, and they didn't really sell. Yeah. The Packers didn't help Aaron Rodgers out at all. Didn't go get no one. Like,
I anticipated the Raiders to move a couple defenders to get some draft picks, but we're sitting where we're at. Kind of understandably, I guess, when your record is what it is. You know what I mean? But
well, you don't want to just trade somebody if you're not going to get what you think is value for them either, too. You know, like, I think people sometimes get into this like mindset of being a seller, and what's the point of selling off your players if you're not getting proper value for them?
Yeah.
So I think no move sometimes is a good move. I feel like the Dolphins and Vikings went all in.
Yeah, man. That Bradley Chubb pickup is big for the Dolphins. I think they already have a great defense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And adding a piece like Bradley Chubb is big. You know, I know Denver fans feel they haven't got necessarily their money's worth really out of Chubb, or he kind of didn't live up to the expectations or whatever the case may be. But sometimes, you know, when a player goes to a new place and gets that, you know, we were kind of talking about it with the transfer portal the other day, gets that refreshing sense of, I can do this again. You know what I mean? Like, it might be the spark that he needed for his career, especially going to a winning team that's going to be, you know, arguably a competitor this year. Everybody, you know, is excited about what the Dolphins are doing. They've had their ups and downs, but I think the consensus is they are a competitor in the league this year. So, you know, I think that's a great move.
You know, and Chubb had to live up to some lofty expectations because he went fifth here. He went ahead of Josh Allen. He went ahead of Lamar Jackson. He went ahead of even Josh Rosen, who kind of fizzled out. But I think a lot of people, especially on the radio here, a lot of people were pissed that the Broncos didn't choose a quarterback right there. Everyone, you know, now says, oh, they should have took Josh Allen. But, you know, hindsight's only 20/20, bro. And back when the draft was going down in 2018, like, there was a lot of question marks on Josh Allen's accuracy, on the team that he played for in college in terms of Wyoming and the competition he played against. So, like, nothing that was there was a sure lock. It's easy to go back now and say, oh, they should have took Allen instead of Chubb, and they screwed that up. But Bradley Chubb was the best pass rusher in that draft.
Yeah.
And no one expected him to fall to number 5. Yep. So, you know, there's a lot to be said about that. There's also a lot to be said about when expectations are heavy on you. How do you react? Now, Chubb going to the Dolphins, he just got paid. They literally the next day they inked him to like a 5-year extension.
Yeah.
Like, you know, about $20 million a year. So now he's got lofty expectations on him again. Yeah. Let's see how he reacts. He looks healthy. He's been playing well this year, 5.5 sacks. I think that the Dolphins got a steal, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, I was just getting ready to talk about the other end of that trade, and I think it is a steal for sure. And I think the Dolphins, you know, they kind of took all those draft picks they got from the Trey Lance situation and they moved them. Yep. You know, they were very busy moving those deals, but they were kind of wash your hands with those picks. They weren't their picks anyway. They kind of gained those picks from San Fran, so they made those picks worth it, you know, by getting these guys. But you got Denver on the other hand. They get Chase Edmonds, right?
Which is a good pickup for them.
It is a good pickup for them because they got the power back in Latavius Murray now, and they got Chase Edmonds who can, you know, be a little finesse out of the backfield and also give you that downhill running if you need it. You know, so I think Chase Edmonds will be a good addition to Denver's backfield. I think they have a lot of other things they got to kind of get right. But, you know, I don't think they're necessarily a big loser in this deal.
Well, no, and they get a first-round pick,
you know what
too,
I mean? Yeah,
which they didn't have.
I think it was a pretty fair trade, honestly. Like, I think Denver was kind of, you know, at the end of the roads with Chubb, and they got the value that they feel that they needed for him, and Chubb is obviously in a better situation.
Well, and if you weren't going to re-sign Chubb,
Yeah, you're
like,
gonna lose him.
You gotta move him, right? Like, and no one expected him to get a first round pick out of it. I think everyone's gonna be rooting, and Denver's gonna be rooting against the San Francisco 49ers right now, so that pick can be as high as it can be.
Yeah.
But it's good to get you shipped off your picks to get Russell Wilson, and now you got to pick back. I think it was one of those trades that when you look at it at the end of it, it's gonna be a win-win for both teams.
Yeah, and then they went and picked up the Broncos to not replace him necessarily, but add some depth to their line group. They went and got Jake Martin from the Jets. You know what I mean?
Hometown kid.
Yeah, so they're trying to still make sure that they got some depth in that room. So pieces are moving. Man, there's a lot of trades that.
How about Chase Claypool to the Bears?
I
dude?
love it. I love it for Justin Fields.
Yeah,
I love it for Chase Claypool.
And I know you're a big Justin Fields
Fields
fan, dude. So that gives him somebody that he can stretch the field with. Darnell Mooney he's decent, but it's just Darnell Mooney. There's no one else that you think of on their receiver core, and this gives them someone else to take some of that pressure off, and they can stretch that field a little bit.
Yeah, the thing that's confusing about the Bears, though, right, is like they're in this rebuilding,
right?
And Chase is young, and they're pairing him with Justin Fields, but they're tearing apart that defense with some pretty good players, man.
I couldn't believe they said
trading away Roquan Smith, to the Ravens. That makes the Ravens instantly better on defense. He's a dog.
They traded away Robert Quinn.
Traded away Robert Quinn. I understand Robert Quinn's older. Roquan's kind of older. I still think he's a young player. He still has a lot of football left in him. You know what I mean?
They're going to have to pay him too, and I think that was part of the apprehension reason why they kind of did away with him. I'm
just confused. Are they in the I want to win this year, or I'm ready to rebuild this year? Because offensively, it looks like they're trying to add weapons, but defensively, it looks like they're throwing in the towel.
Complete opposite. It's weird because even though the Bears season hasn't gone as they kind of had hoped, they're 3-5. They're only one game out of the playoffs. Like, it's wild to see that the only teams really out of it are the Detroit Lions and maybe the Carolina Panthers in the NFC. But the thing with the Panthers is that division sucks. That division is bad. And, they're only a couple games out of first place in their division. So, even though it doesn't look as if the Bears are playing for anything this year, they still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. They still have an opportunity to leapfrog, the Commanders, the Rams, the 49ers, Bucks, who are all playing horrible football right now.
They always say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right?
Yeah.
You know who got richer?
Who's that?
The Buffalo Bills. Bro, the Naheem Hines trade is ridiculous for them, bro.
Another weapon.
Again, it's a spark for his career, right? He's going to an instant contender. You're giving Josh Allen another very good weapon, coming out of the backfield. And, man, Buffalo, bro.
Talk about all in.
For real. For me, they're my front runner favorite for the AFC for sure.
Yeah.
Probably the whole Super Bowl. But everybody gets knocked off their high horse at some point. And football is any given Sunday. You know how that goes. Anybody can win, anybody can lose, but they're putting everything in it.
The only team to beat Buffalo is, right?
Yeah.
The Dolphins.
Yeah, I remember that game. I don't know if Tua remembers it, but I remember that game.
Hey, they played an interesting stat on the game the other day, and they were saying that the Dolphins are undefeated in games that Tua starts and finishes. So they lost that Cincinnati game that he started. That's the only game that he started that they lost. But every game that he started and finished so far this year, the Dolphins have not lost.
Hey, man.
And then you look at Waddle and you look at Hill last week. They had over 300 yards receiving.
You know what? And we've talked about it in the beginning of the year, right?
Yep.
We said, Tua, this is your year, bro. You have to do something.
He's cashing in, bro.
And he's doing what he needs to do.
Absolutely.
So good for him. You know what is kind of crazy but cool trade to see as well is the Jags, man, picking up Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. And it's bullshit that he's suspended right now.
It is bullshit, especially because next week, who gets to come back.
Yeah. And also
2 weeks or whatever it is, I don't know.
I think it's December 4th. This is going to be his first game.
Yeah.
But the thing that's most bullshit about that is if you watch the NFL now, there's MGM Sportsbook, there's FanDuel Sportsbook, there's every single sportsbook that you can see advertising is advertising, bro. And I get it. You don't want the perception that we're that your players are throwing games or that
Let me find out Roger Goodell owns DraftKings.
I bet there's some stake. I bet some of these owners have some stake in some of that
stuff. For sure.
Like,
come on, man. You know what it is they're mad because somebody else is trying to get their finger in the Sugar Bowl.
Well, and if you go to the stadium and go watch a Bronco game, there's actually, I believe there's little portals that you can go and place your bets through MGM or through FanDuel. I forget which one it is, but you can actually go and like pick some bets and place them. Like, I get it. I get that you don't want your players gambling, but dude, that's bullshit that this dude got suspended the whole game, and yet you can go be a perv.
And let's get this right. Like, let's be real. If a player was gambling against his team and throwing games, you're going to be blackballed from the league immediately. Yeah. You're going to be done with, bro. But if a player's gambling gambling with his team to win and it's giving him an extra competitive edge to play better, then that's raising the competition level. Like, I'm for it, bro. Just as long as we're not trying to cheat the game, let's who cares?
I just don't get how the NFL hands down discipline, bro.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Like double standards, right?
Like, you smoke some weed, or you do a little bit of this, you're gone for the year, and you have to reinstate. You gamble, you're gone for the year, you have to reinstate. Taint
tickled, you're good.
Yeah, you slap the shit out of a woman, you be back in 6 games. You perv out on massage therapists and become a complete predator. We'll see you in December, dog. We'll give you 200 plus million too to be a quarterback. Like, it's sad, bro.
It is.
It really is. And but the Jags, man, the Jags are building something, bro. And I think Doug Peterson over there, he's a great coach.
He is.
And he's getting the most out of Lawrence. He's getting the most out of Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. I picked the Jacksonville. Listen. We go there real quick. I picked Jacksonville to win. I picked Atlanta to win because both teams, the Chargers and the Raiders, they're crossing the country, and it's never good for them teams.
There, though.
I get that, but
we stood there and we can't lose again.
I get that.
We can't lose again.
I get that, but y'all gonna lose.
Well, you picked them.
Just from my pocket, man. You guys are gonna lose.
You're right. They are. Jacksonville is building something. You know what I mean? It's going to, unfortunately, with building something, sometimes you take your lumps and your bruises.
You guys are,
they're going to take that this week. You know what I mean? But shout out to somebody else who's building something really special. Up? Shout out to Christian Whitney and Black Sevens.
Yo.
If you need any graphic design work done, make sure you hit up Christian at blacksevens.com. Christian is a native of North Denver and a beast at what he does. He's also a great dude. Visit blacksevens.com right now to see his work, buy some merch, and see all that he has going on. He knocked the DNA logo out the park, and we're super excited to feature his work. We're great to have him as friends, appreciative to have him as friends in our lives. Yep. So make sure to go visit blacksevens.com right now for more. Christian and his wife and me and Vita are going to see Kevin Hart tomorrow, so it should be a fun night. They reached out and invited us to go with them, so shout out to the Whitneys, shout out to Black Sevens. Go get you some merch. If you need graphic design, check him out, man. Great dude.
Hey, and that's you want proof, man, go visit blacksevens.com, go visit DNASportsDenver.com. Dude is just a great dude, great at what he does. So make sure you show him some love. Make sure you go follow him. Follow us too. Make sure you hit up all the socials. I like to say all the news over the last week has been great news and good news, and there's been some really good things. Unfortunately, it's like freaking Groundhog Day with this situation right here with this specific topic. And I'll let you introduce it, Coach, because this is kind of the topic you wanted to touch on. But I'm just saddened to continue to see this type of situation continue to pop up, continue to come up, and just seeing young folks that shouldn't be going.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, we want to say R.I.P. to Takeoff. It's sad to see a young man, young woman, whatever the case, lose their life too early, and I just want to say my condolences out to him, his family, all the lives and the people that he's touched with his music. Everybody that's invested in him and hurting from this situation, my condolences are out to you. And I pray for the best for the family. I will say, though, as we start to grow and be successful, and we come from certain communities, and it's hard to part ways with certain communities and do things, man. We got to really, really realize that sometimes when we make it out, we're that last chance of hope in some cases for our community. So we got to make sure that we put ourselves in right situations, and we're not putting ourselves in situations that can go left and cause us to lose our lives to where we can't continue to help out the people that we want to help out because we know what they're going through.
Yeah. It's sad, bro. Too many young folks out here dying.
Yeah, man, and I just don't get it. Like we're killing each other left and right, man, and instead of coming together to try to make things right for the future, we're tearing it down essentially, and just and doing exactly what is expected of us to do, and it's sad. It's
I feel bad for the young man's family, bro.
Man, like. Over dice, over a basketball argument, or over whatever it was, and
I know there's some questions too, because I was reading that they're not even sure that he was the target. Like that there's some thought that he may have been a stray bullet, and he catches it, and I don't know that these young people understand that. I love guns, I own my own, and I like to go shooting and work on stuff like that. And the one thing that you're always taught, man, is when you shoot a gun, like that bullet doesn't have any kind of rewind button on it. There's no controlling that bullet once it leaves that gun. And I don't know if these young people don't understand, or if it's just stupidity, obviously, but like, man, that bullet don't have any name on it. Once it leaves that gun, anything can happen. And I know a bunch of people from the hood and shit that died, and I could think of friends that passed away because they got hit with a stray, and it's just very unfortunate, man. You see this young man who's doing things. I've never listened to a lot of the Migos. I respect their hustle. I respect their grind. They make music that's really popular and a lot of people like. I liken it to when Tupac passed away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love Tupac's music, and I loved Tupac at the time. And when he passed away, it was definitely ripping it out my heart. And, there's a generation of folks that grew up on the Migos, generation of folks that love Quavo, love Takeoff, love Offset, and to have, you lose your artist, man. It reminds me of Nipsey Hussle all over again, Young Dolph. I mean, you go down the list, bro, over the last 2 to 3 years of the number of hip hop artists who have been murdered. It's just really sad, bro. And we've got to do better as a community, man. As a hip hop community, as just a community in general, we've got to be better, and we've got to educate better, bro. I really don't know what the answer is, And
you got to realize, man, there's people that love you, and then there's people that truly hate you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, when you reach a certain level of success, there's going to be people out there with envy.
Yeah, want to see your downfall.
And they want to see your downfall. And if they can take an opportunity to get you in trouble or take you out, or it's you or them,
yeah,
they're going to choose themselves every time. And you got to realize that sometimes that, once you reach this certain level of success, as bad as it may sound, and as much as you don't want to do it, but you have to cut some ties.
Yep.
You got to put yourself in certain situations. We talked about it with the Brittany Griner situation.
Yep.
I also want to bring up the Sue Surf situation where he's getting federally indicted on RICO charges. One of my favorite battle rappers, one of my favorite rappers, period.
Mm-hmm.
And, I understand. We all come from a certain demographic and a certain street element, right?
Yep.
But at a certain point in your life, you got to realize that you are that beacon of light that's going to help out the rest of us, and you got to make sure that you cut certain ties or put yourself in certain positions in order to not be a target or not be a part of something that's going to bring you down. And to the OGs out there, if we really want to see better for our communities, and we want to see better for the people within our communities, when we have a certain individual who makes a certain amount of success, let's not bring him down with us. Let's not, let's try to get him and influence him to stay that course.
Push him to the finish line.
Stay away from it. Push him away from what he's attracted to and what he's good at, and push him towards what he's good at. You know what I mean? Instead of, saying, yeah, you're dope at football, or you're a great rapper, I'm going to put you under my wings only to use you until I need to tell on you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we got to be uplifting our kids. We got to be uplifting our community instead of tearing it down. And when you make it to a certain success, cut ties. Who cares what anybody thinks about you? Cut that rope and continue to be successful, so that way you can continue to be the support that the community needs. If it's really about the community, you got to do things like that.
It sounds horrible and it sounds super selfish, bro, but no one is looking out for you like you look out for you.
Nope.
Like, you got to be able to look out for yourself, and you got to be able to self-scout, self-analyze, and understand certain situations aren't the right situation for you. Maybe certain people you need to cut out your life. I tell the story a lot on the podcast about my homie Dion. He was a regional tour manager for Strange, and when we used to do music, we used to open up for them guys. He used to always just lay game, to us and talk to us about things. And it was one of the things he used to always talk about was like, yo, sometimes you got to cut the rope. And if you got people pulling you down or weighing you down, you got to cut that rope so you can fly.
Yeah, man. And, before this all came down, and we are who we are, and we're a product of our environment. And sometimes it's hard. It's easily said than done. You know what I mean? But, right before this kind of happened, Sue Surf had went on a Twitter Spaces and kind of speaking about it and talking to the battle rap community and essentially saying, like, learn from what he's going through. You know what I mean? Like, he's not acknowledging any guilt. He's not denying any of the situation. He's just saying learn from it. Yeah. Learn from the fact that I'm involved in a situation with a bunch of people who I grew up with and I thought were friends, some considered family. You know what I mean? But when it came down to it, the friend and the family went out the window. You know what I mean? And he should have focused more time on himself and the success that he got instead of, again, not cutting those ties and being involved in the people who he thought really had his back, so. Well,
in a situation like his too, bro, like, what do the feds like to get? They like to catch big fish, right? And like, what bigger fish is it? Someone with a name, That's why when they caught 6ix9ine, it was such a big deal because he had a big name, big following. Like, you can make an example out of him. It's no different than what Russia's doing with Brittany Griner. It's no different than you see with like some of these celebrities that catch cases. You make an example out the big name, and maybe it discourages other people from doing what they were doing. And it's unfortunate that your name sometimes will get you in trouble because they like, oh yeah, well, so and so's involved too, and there you go.
Yeah, and so Sue Surf, he's allegedly, they're saying that he was involved in a shooting in March of 2017, and he was also involved in a big drug deal in April of 2018, and that's what they're tying him into this whole situation with. And again, it's about the environment you put yourself in and who you hang out with. So, young kids out there, if you're watching this, I understand we have friends. I understand we have family, and I understand there's that honeymoon phase of, I'm hanging out with this certain group of people, and we're partying, we're having chicks around, we got money, we got everything, we don't have to ask for nothing. Yep. That's a honeymoon phase. That's going to phase out. It's going to end, and you're going to put yourself in a situation that you can't bring yourself out of, whether it's death or prison. And you got to realize that quick and cut those ties and invest in yourself and in your future, and realize that the people who are telling you not to do those things are really the people who care about you, not the people that are bringing you in.
Yep, facts. Hey, well said, Coach. I appreciate that. Before we move on, just once again, best of luck to Sue Surfing with the situation he's going on, and then R.I.P. Takeoff, and condolences to that young man's family.
Yes, sir.
Just thankful to be able to have this platform to kind of share these kind of thoughts, you know what I mean? Because I know we have a lot of young folks around us that are very impressionable. And, if we can shed light on situations that kind of help deter maybe a path they're willing to take or that they're thinking about taking, that's what we're here for, and that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, our coaching doesn't stop on the field. Our coaching continues on in life, bro, and that's the way I look at the coaches that I've had in my life, where they've impacted my life even beyond the football field and outside of the lines. So that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're trying to do with this podcast and with everything we do with DNA Sports Denver. So shout out to that. Before we get out of here, Coach, we got I did a little special thing with our player spotlight, and I see you also did a special thing with our player spotlight.
I did.
I was kind of going the high school playoff approach with it, and also the last week with 3A. We're close to the 3A division because we used to coach in the 3A division, but we also have friends in high places. We have friends in 5A and 4A and stuff. So those playoffs are about to start, or have started this week. I know we Coach Tiff, our boy Tiff, is out there at Bear Creek, and unfortunately they took an L last night to a really good Windsor team.
Yeah.
Super proud though of that Bear Creek team. I got a little cousin on the team, and like I said, we have Tiff on our homie Tiff on the team, and so I just want to give them a shout out for what they did this year in their season and making it to the 5A playoffs and really having a very respectable season. Something to build on hopefully for the future. I know they got some players coming back. I think the toughest part's always losing your seniors. So I want to give a shout out to them before we go on. And then also just real quickly, bro, like who do you got winning the whole thing in 5A, 4A?
So in 5A, man, it's tough, right? Because everybody wants to pick the Cherry Creek, right?
Yeah.
But there's two schools, bro, in particular that I really think have a shot. And one, maybe a little bit of bias because I coached a kid there who I'm really rooting for, and I want to see him be successful. That would be Regis.
Okay.
I think Regis can I'm hoping for Regis to pull some upsets. I know they got Fossil Ridge coming up this week. They had the first round bye, obviously, because of the success they've had this year. Fossil Ridge coming up, and they're in their quadrant of the bracket. They got Valor Christian and Legend playing as well. So, if they do beat Fossil Ridge, they'll play the winner of Valor Christian or Legend, which will be a tough game either way.
Yep.
So I'm rooting for them. But another team, bro, that's good, great coaching. Shout out to Coach Corey. You know what I mean? Grandview.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Grandview, I think they're a good football team, bro, and they got some dogs. They got a lot of athletes out there, and they can surprise a lot of teams, But, of course, Cherry Creek is a powerhouse football team.
You mentioned Grandview, and you mentioned Cherry Creek just now in the same breath. Grandview just gave Cherry Creek their first loss in Colorado in a number of years. Cherry Creek hasn't lost to a Colorado team for a while, and Grandview put it on them the last game of the season. So that's not a bad pick.
And not to mention, again, I mentioned Coach Corey. He's a former Cherry Creek coach.
That's got to feel good.
You know what I mean? So to go back and beat, your old team, but also he still coaches a lot of those boys. I know he does a lot of things off season. To know what they're going to do a little bit kind of defensively is going to benefit them, but again, they got a long road ahead to run into Cherry Creek, but it would be exciting to see those two kind of battle out before the championship round.
I think it's going to be hard to knock Cherry Creek off the 5A. The game they play this week against Fountain Fort Carson should be a good game. Fountain Fort Carson has over the years had a solid program, and it seems like this year they've really put it together to kind of take that next step. So it'd be interesting to see that game. That's going to be a really good one. I do like the Regis Fossil Ridge matchup. That's going to be another good one. And but I think Regis will pull that one off. And the other one I'm looking at, bro, is Ralston Valley versus Chatfield. Chatfield's a 4A defending state champion. They moved up in league this year. And they got a surprise win over Fairview, which I don't think a lot of people had them winning that game. So I still think Creek is going to win 5A, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as maybe it has been in the last couple years. I think they're going to find some challenges, and I do think they're going to meet Grandview in that semifinal and really have a struggle with that one. But, whoever wins on that at that point. Once you get to that point of the playoffs, anything can happen, and that's the great thing about not playing a series, but just playing a one and done kind of situation. Yeah, anything can happen in football, and it's any given Sunday.
Yeah, and we mentioned Windsor earlier, just beat Bear Creek, and they actually will be in 4A.
4A, yeah. 4A, I misspoke earlier.
But they're bouncing around. Now they're going to be playing the number 2 Broomfield team.
Broomfield's good.
Yeah, bro, that should be that's going to be another tough challenge for them. Broomfield again coming off a really good year this year, so it's going to be a battle, an uphill battle.
Broomfield's got a nice little quarterback too. I forget the kid's name. I feel I should go look it up, but I don't want to take too much time on it. But they've got a really good quarterback over there at Broomfield who we'll see what happens. But I honestly, it's Cole LaCrue. Solid athlete. He's led Broomfield so far to undefeated season. Palmer Ridge is perennial, and they're perennially good.
I was just getting ready to mention them as well.
I don't know if they're going to make it all the way through. They always seem to run into a buzzsaw, that no one expects. Loveland's in there, and Loveland's always solid.
Even in their quadrant, right? They got Fruita Monument, Vista Ridge. You know what I mean?
Yep. Got some good teams. What about South? How do you feel about
I was just getting ready to talk about them too, bro. South, shout out to Coach Marini. He's always doing his thing out there.
1 point from being undefeated this season.
Yeah, I'm going to be rooting for, Denver South DPS school. We come from North, so we got to definitely hope the best for Denver South. But I'm telling you right now, man, the game that they'll be looking forward to coming in is not going to be any walk in the park, No. The Erie and Air Academy play, I anticipate Erie to take care of that one.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be Erie and Denver South. Blake Barnett's going to bring those Erie Tigers, and they're going to take them for everything they have, But I think South will prevail.
Yeah. I don't want to look too far ahead in that bracket, but I love the idea of a Ponderosa Denver South rematch.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to look too far ahead in that.
Hey, but you know what, though? You got Pueblo West still in there. You do. Stanley Lake in there, who's actually been surprisingly pretty good. They got a new thing going on there. So Golden just, on the other side of the quadrant in 4A, Golden just had a really impressive, dominant win against Rampart where, 28-0.
You speak of Golden, and Golden's the only team to beat South this year.
They are.
And they beat them by a point.
They are, man. There's a lot of excitement in football. 4A, 5A, 3A even. I know we're still wrapping up the 3A season, getting ready for the brackets. But
3A had a great game the other night, bro, for the League 6 title.
That's why I was
with George and Frederick.
Bro, shout out to G-Dub.
Yeah, big shout out G-Dub.
Bro, shout out to G-Dub. They've been building. We've seen them building it,
Yeah.
Kind of since the year that they took the L to us where we beat them 52-0, but they've been building, bro.
They had so many young kids on that team now that are seniors.
They did.
And
Honeycutt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That dude is a man amongst boys.
Shout out to Marcellus Honeycutt. He's probably one of the best all-around athletes
for sure.
in 3A for sure.
For sure. He's phenomenal.
I think he's committed to Eastern Washington.
Yeah, I coached Fred Scott over there at G-Dub, Caden Reed at G-Dub. Coach Swift got those kids playing.
Shout out Coach Swift.
At a high level, bro. And shout out to G-Dub. And, again, it's another school that, I'm going to be rooting for. And I'd like to see where they can take it, bro, because
I love seeing these DPS schools go out and play some of these country schools and home country schools because they're the rule. But like Frederick, Meade, them schools have been dominant in 3A for a number of years. And to see GW go out there and handle their business against them schools, that game the other night was complete whiteout, snow everywhere, freaking defensive stand on 4th and short to seal the deal for GW. We mentioned Honeycutt. Honeycutt went off. I believe he had like 3 touchdowns in that game. It was just a great overall win for not only George, but for the DPS and for the league. So shout out to them. Good luck this season. We'll preview 3A a little bit more next week when we go through it. But Coach, you have a very, very special player spotlight, and this one definitely is special to me too. So I just want to go ahead and let you take the baton and run with it.
Yeah, man. So with player spotlight a lot this year, we wanted to shout out an individual athlete who was being successful within their position or within their team. In the game of football, and this week I wanted to take a different approach because oftentimes, football comes and it goes faster than we all want it to. As a football coach and as football players, that from day one to the last day is far too quick.
Yeah.
And you coach a lot of young kids and you see them grow within your program, and then you want to send them off to greener pastures, So for me, this week's player spotlight definitely has to be a shout out to a group of kids that I've been coaching for a while. It's most of them since Futures. And it's very tough, but I want to give a shout out to the senior class at Denver North. We got Frankie Vigil, we got Fernando Ayona, we got Vince Culbert, we got Michael Trizio, we got Francis Akinda, we got Hamadi, we got Jefte Guzman, we got Elliot Reyes, Jonathon Stone, Danny Lucero, Cortavious Norris, and last but not least, my nephew Jeremiah Martinez, man. Shout out to these young men. Again, I've been coaching them since 7th grade for the majority of the part. A few of them came on later. I've been coaching Jeremiah since he was in 3rd grade. And
that's got chills, bro.
Just to be a part of their career, be a part of their life is truly a blessing in mine. And I love each and every one of you so much. The amount of time we've spent together, the amount of time we spent away from each other has been impactful on my life. And I could tell you last night was the first night that I truly felt regret for not coaching this year.
Yeah.
And it was hard, man. It was hard to see these guys out there having fun, playing the game for each other. And, I was in the stands. I was rooting them all on, of course, but to not be on the sideline with them was truly regretful last night. And I'm just thankful that I have you guys in my life. I'm thankful for the young men you are. Continue to be good young men in this community and in this world, and continue to have goals and strive for the best, because the ceiling is the limit for you guys. I'm proud of all of you. I love all of you. And my hat's off to you, and there's no better way to end this show but give a shout out to you senior boys. So salute, man.
Yo, shout out. I'm thankful. I'll be able to coach Frankie this spring in track, be able to work with Elliot a little bit in track, maybe half day. But yeah, man, them kids right there, they're great kids. And some of them played their last down of football. Some of them had the game taken from them a little sooner than they probably would have liked with injuries. And, Danny, Jeremiah, just know that that's not the final author. That's not the final, chapter on your book in this game. There's very different ways to be involved in this game and to still give back and to still find the love and joy of this game. I appreciate all that list of fellas. Seeing Hamadi make some plays last night was awesome. Seeing Cortavious, bro, put it together and play his senior year. Trizio working his ass off, Vince working his ass off. Them guys were good kids, man. They are good kids, and I salute them and I appreciate them for the opportunity I had to work with them for the 3 years that I did. And shout out to Coach Esco and the staff over there for being able to give these seniors a memorable one to go out on. So,
yeah, for sure. And another thing I'll say to you young men is know who you are, know the impact that you've created, And I say that because your teammates last night, man, they were balling. Your underclassmen teammates were balling. Frankie was out there making plays that he probably shouldn't have made. You know what I mean? Throwing left-hand touchdowns, and he was doing it all because of you.
Yep.
And there's younger kids that look up to you. I take my 2nd grade team to the games at North, and they're looking up to so many of you. And so many of you have already made so many impacts in younger kids' lives and older adults' lives, and you'll continue to make impacts in life. Just please, please, please hear me when I say this. Continue to make it a positive one.
Yep. And that being said, man, we're going to go ahead and get ready to hop up out of here. But before we do, man, I know we give our shout-outs at the end of the show all the time. I want to give a special shout-out to a brother of ours, a coaching brother of ours, Coach AJ Gallegos, coaching that 8th grade Viking team. Their season unfortunately came to an end last year, but he has a new venture that he's coming off with. And you know how we are, bro. We love to support small business. We love to support our brothers and sisters that are getting out there and venturing in business. And he's got a really cool concept that he's launching with called Cutthroat Barbers and Anglers. And I'm a fisherman, love fishing. You like to get a nice fade and get cleaned up all nice and pretty. So shout out to Coach AJ Gallegos and his new venture, Cutthroat Barbers and Anglers. If you're on Instagram, make sure you go find his shop, give his page a follow, show some love. I believe it's CO_Cutthroat_Barbers. AJ, shout out with what you doing, bro. I like the concept. I love the logo and the branding is dope.
It is.
So make sure you guys give him some love, show him some love. He's definitely made a huge impact on kids in our community over the course of the last, I don't know what it is, 8-9 years that he's been coaching in that Wheat Ridge organization and in PAL and all that. So it's definitely wanted to give a shout out to that guy for that and for his venture. As usual.
I want to just say something about that too, Coach.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that for me, guys, and young kids hear this, is do something you love, right? And he's combining two things that he loves in fishing and in cutting hair, and he's applying it to something that's gonna, be successful for him. And shout out to him and Coach, you always got my support. So anything that you do, I can't wait to, buy some merch. Even though I'm not a fisherman, I will support, you know what I mean, and get a fade, even though that the schedule's crazy booked up, continue to stay crazy booked up. That's what we love to see.
Amen.
But shout out to you, Coach. Continue to do what you love. Continue to be a staple in the community, and big shouts out.
Yo, shout out Arsenal Custom Apparel, Rebel Promotions, Black Sevens, Janice's Catering. Shout out to our Wheat Ridge organization. Shout out to our boys at North High School, the coaching staff. Hey, we forgot to mention, we saw Hannah, we saw Odell yesterday, man. It was great to see them boys. Coach Zach.
We did.
It was a reunion in the stands over there. So
it was.
Shout out to that senior class from North High School football team this year. Man, shout out to my partner.
Yeah, shout out to you, and one special shout out before I leave.
Get it.
It would be absolutely ridiculous of me to not say happy birthday to Frankie Dardano. I love you, kid. You're a phenomenal athlete. The sky's the limit. Continue to push. Continue to be the good spirit and the good soul that you are. And happy birthday to my son. I love you so much, DJ. You are everything that I expected, and you're going to be everything that I know you can be. I'm super proud of you. I love you, and let's have a blast, kid.
On that note, we're out of here. Till then, that's when. For my boy, Coach Dom, and Coach Al, man, nothing but love. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good one.
DNA, baby.